Okay, please stand. Someone lead us in the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is public comment. This is public comment. If you wish to make a comment, please stand.
Men in the back.
All right, my name's Raleigh Green, and I live at Mountain View Avenue, and I'm speaking this evening as a local resident. And thank you for the time to speak, and thank you for your service. I have a couple questions with regards to the proposed moratorium. By email, I asked Supervisor McKnight for clarification behind the reasoning for the proposed resolution, asking for a 9-month building related moratorium for some low-density zones in Hurley. Supervisor McKnight, you said that it's common practice when nearing completion of a comprehensive plan, and it was suggested by the consultants, and this was suggested by the consultants, and I assume that's Nelson and Pope in this case. The moratorium seems to short-circuit the entire comprehensive plan process. The town board designated itself as the lead committee for the comprehensive plan after it basically dissolved the standing comprehensive planning committee early last year. My three questions to the board are, is it standard practice to put in place a town-wide moratorium or a spot-zoned moratorium such as the one that's been proposed? 2, if a moratorium is standard practice, was the public told this at the beginning of the process? I don't recall this being said. Given that the comprehensive planning process, including planning and zoning board reviews and public comment periods, could be much, much longer than 9 months, can this town board assure the public that no further moratoriums will be proposed as part of this process? So, thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Not prepared to answer questions this evening about the moratorium. The public hearing is at the next meeting in 2 weeks, and the attorneys will be here to answer questions.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, hi, I'm Kathy Donlin, and I'm from 7 Wildwood Drive. And my question is, we've had the road problem over there with the water issues. I guess it's Capital Fund 14H is what the grant was for, to fix the road so our basements and our yards don't flood. And I know in 2021, when Mr. Perry was supervisor and the board approved with Mike that this should be a priority. Nothing's still been done on it. I understand that there was the easement issue. That's been resolved when Beth bought the property that Martha was holding up the sale on. I just want to know what's the status, and I want a commitment from the board that it's going to be resolved this year, because my understanding is once the easement goes to the town lawyers, then it needs to go to the state, and then you guys do something called an RFP to put it out for contract. This has been going on over at least 15 years. It's kind of tiring getting our basements flooded, our yards turn into swamps, and I just need a commitment from the board. I'm talking from my neighbors that something's going to be done. And if not, then I don't know what you're going to do with the grant money. But it's a major issue over on Wildwood Drive. It goes down. The water's supposed to go down and be put down into the Sauk Hill.
Okay, so this is the first time I'm hearing of this particular issue. We're dealing with a lot of other drainage projects in town, so I'm interested in being proactive. So I will look into this.
Okay, because I know the water has been there over for 15 years, if not more. I know they need to slant the road the other way and do all the drainage stuff, but there's the capital grant is out there was for this particular item, and I believe there's also something called Kimball Terrace that also has a water issue.
Yes, I'm aware of that. There's a, I could list.
There's a list.
There's a list. So,
Okay, but
so I wasn't aware of this. I was left no information. that this was to be raised to the top of the
Okay.
priority list, so I'll assure you that I'll
Okay.
look into it and take care of it.
How long has it been a problem for you?
I've been there 9 years, my sister's been there over 30, and
Nothing's been done since then. You do understand that we just got an office, basically.
I understand.
We will try to do something this time for you. We'll look into it.
We're interested in
proactive.
being really proactive in solving the plethora of problems that have been plaguing the town, drainage just being one of them. So,
I mean, like, I understand that the problem was with the easement, and that's now been resolved.
okay,
It's also, we don't actually, it's not the town board
So-
that goes out and does this.
right, so,
It's the highway department.
I know, I've been in contact with Mr. Schultz.
well,
Okay.
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes?
Janet Briggs, Morgan Hill Road. This is a happy spring. This is not a new problem. This happens every year, but once the snow melts, we have that problem by the landfill where a lot of the garbage that has blown out over the winter is now uncovered. Happens every year. In the past, we used to go to Ulster County Corrections, and we used to ask if we could get some help to come out and pick that up. And sometimes it was a community service type thing, but just wanted to mention it because it's in all view now.
Well, I'll look into it. Thank you, thank you.
Well, are you talking about the garbage that's around the dump?
That got blown out.
If you want, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm bringing this up. On Earth Day, please come out. We're going to have a community thing, and we're going to pick up trash. Okay, so please come out and pick up trash with me. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, my name is David Whittick, and I actually reside on Kemple Terrace, so it seems to be an ongoing issue we're having here. Yes, I appreciate you getting back to me. So it is a problem. You're basically like everybody else, looking for answers. I understand that this isn't supposed to be back and forth, but at this point, I mean, years in the making. Is there any kind of decency that someone can afford me to give me some answers, shine some light?
So I did just send you an email late this afternoon that I got confirmation from the town engineer that we are just about ready to issue the RFP and the work will be done on Kemble Terrace this summer.
This summer?
Yes.
That's very vague.
I don't have
This
another-
has been going on, like I said, I mean, if that's your stance, if that's what you guys want to do is be vague, I will be boisterous and definite. It's ridiculous at this point.
I have actually a video of it that I'll show you if you want after the meeting.
I don't.
After a big rainstorm.
I don't disagree with you.
A video of,
Yeah, he knows, he lives there.
yeah, I don't need
so-
a video, I experience it every day.
So
I mean, I don't find it a laughing matter either. I mean, that's.
It's not laughing, but
Nobody's saying it is, but hold on. What the supervisor just said is that the engineer is about to issue an RFP, which is the normal procedure for taking care of this. So it's not like a vague thing. It's like, issuing an RFP is the next step, and then the next step after that is actually getting the work done.
Okay, but summer
So
is
how is that
extremely
vague?
I mean, is that the summer solstice, is it the first day of summer, last day? I'm just not quite sure.
you want a
And
deadline?
again, I mean, no disrespect here, but it just seems to be that we are just passing the buck. Where here, it was,
here for a year.
Yeah, I'm not interested
You're
in
talking about 8 years of passing the buck.
I'm not
so-
interested in passing the
Yeah.
buck.
We don't
wanna
Ever
pass the
since
buck.
I got
Not
in,
buck
again,
passers.
I'm not, passing blame here or anything, but that's the thing, is this is a new administration. So if there was problems with the previous one, then I would look forward to and hope that the new administration would be able to answer questions and get things done.
That's what we're doing.
that's the best I can do right now.
Okay, because all I get is, and which I literally just heard was, it's the highway department and Mr. Schultes. Well, every time that I speak to Mr. Schultes, I hear that Mr. Schultes is basically done everything that he can, and I need to speak to the board. So I am here looking for answers, and if I need to go back to Mr. Schultes, I know when I go to Mr. Schultes, he's gonna give me the same thing, that he has submitted a request to the DEP for a permit, and he has dates that he has sent to me that I also forwarded to you, as to when he requested that payment of the $50 payment for that would be paid, and he could have a receipt that it was paid. And as of today, I spoke, but There was correspondence, and he said that he still has not received
He's
confirmation.
washed his hands of the situation, and we're taking care of it. So that's why I contacted the engineer, Mr. Larios, and the latest information I have, I shared with you. I can't be any more definitive than that. At least there's movement, and I'm doing everything that I can to make things move.
What kind of movement? Because I've been hearing, oh, it's the easement thing, which, okay, I understand. But at the same point, when the easement was initially set up for my property, again, long before me, I'm not quite sure who entered into it. I have to assume it would have been the town at some point, that, hey, if you grant us access to your property so that we can run this through here, we will be responsible for maintaining it. Well, let me tell you, that is not the case. Why should that burden fall on me? It shouldn't. I don't understand. It's not, for me, it's not hard to grasp. I am a simple man, but if I can pick up on that if one person who says, hey, we will do this, we need to, is not holding up on their end of the agreement, what would happen if I did that?
Well, but that's why we hired the engineer. That's why the engineer is coming to, I mean, he's not like, it's,
For over 8 years?
well, no,
I just don't understand.
we just,
Oh, you know what?
Not
We
for
got,
us.
we got another supervisor, ex-supervisor, deputy supervisor that were in there during that period of time. They're sitting right in front of you.
I mean, I'm doing the best
You
I
can
can.
ask
I've been in a
them,
year.
why didn't they do anything? You know?
So that's, again, we're just passing the buck.
No, we're not.
You're
saying-
asking a
you're
question
saying
for
to go
8
to
years.
them. I
I'm
just-
saying.
I just-
There's people in there.
I don't
no, we are
understand.
answering it. Bringing in an engineer and starting that process is not answering it. That's actually taking action. What the action's gonna be, that's a really good question, and you have a perfect right to be like, what is gonna happen?
Okay,
But-
so if I say, hey, eventually I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start my own business and I'm gonna open a farm. Okay, so it would be nice if I told someone that and they said, oh, well, we're counting on you to open that farm, in the near future. Oh,
You
no,
don't wanna
30
get
years
this
from now,
horizon.
I'm going ahead and I'm starting it and I'm getting everything written down on paper and it looks good, but it's 30 years down the road.
We're not about looking
So
good
I
here.
just-
We
I don't-
actually are dealing with a lot of stuff just as like, we didn't even know when we came in. Some of us did, some of us didn't, but there's, when a board takes over, and I'm being totally honest with you, okay? This is a really simple thing. When a board takes over, like, all the problems that were there before, you now have to solve,
They're
right?
still
So
there.
And you don't
there's
even know
still the same
sometimes, and you
problems.
don't even know what the problems
Yeah,
are,
we
because
didn't know.
there's nothing, you're left with nothing.
So now we know, and you're like,
So we have to figure it out.
that's
So-
why we're hiring the engineer, that's why the engineer is making a thingy-wingy, and that's why there's gonna be an RFP, and it's not like a horizon line that's gonna go on for 9,000 years.
Well, it seems,
You know,
so when is
I
the
know,
RFP
but-
going to be put out and filled then? Is there a timeline on that?
How
or
long
is
it
that
usually
something
takes to
that's
do that?
I will let you know as soon as I have information. I'll get
Yeah.
back to them tomorrow, and I'll keep you up to date as best I
a
can.
month, 6 years,
No, it's not
Nothing?
6 years.
some sort of timeline?
It'll be in the next few weeks. It'll be in the next couple of weeks, hopefully.
And again,
I'll confirm
I feel
this
sorry
with,
for her because it sounds like she's going through the same thing
We
that I
didn't
am
know
here.
about
I
her
didn't
road.
even
Now
know
we
about
do.
her.
We didn't know about her road.
She just
I
said
mean,
it was
it's not like
15
we-
years.
It's not like we walked in and there was a list. These are all the streets that are having problems. These are all the streets that are having floods. These are all the property owners that have been begging town boards for years to fix this, okay?
But
We
again, these are
found this
problems that
out.
were inherited. That doesn't make them go away. It doesn't
No,
make them
it's not
solve.
going
Let
away.
me
That's
talk-
why we're
let me
trying
say
to fix
something.
it.
Sir, first of all, I want you to know I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing because I cry of all this stuff. Basically, you're not the only one. Like you, they come after me because I actually go out and fix things myself because I can't get people to fix them. Like, for instance, yeah, you can write that down, John. Just for instance, this was January 27, 2013. Hurley ordered by New York to improve the way the washed vehicles
Right.
up at the highway department. This is over a decade ago. For a whole decade in office, no one ever did it. They still washed them outside. I'd bring it up every once in a while at a meeting. John would tell me to be like, shh. He knew. John, you knew it because you and I went out and looked and found them. We went and found them places to wash. Hold on.
Mr. Russell made the adjustments when it was time to make the adjustment. He is unfortunately not here, but we'll
They
just
are
take
done.
some time to,
They aren't done. They have no place to wash trucks. Where are they going to wash?
You've taken that away, you've taken the highway department away, you closed it, so where are they gonna wash it?
Okay, so yeah, I don't mean to interrupt, but I guess at this point,
Is-
there's no definitive answer, there's no timeline. So basically, oh, it's gonna happen next spring, it's gonna happen next spring, it's gonna continue.
Sir, your project will be completed by the end of the year. I can commit to that.
I wouldn't, because Mike's got to do it.
Listen,
No,
stop.
it doesn't.
We've
Listen.
gone too long and the permit has expired again, and we.
No.
need to apply for it,
Listen
so
to what the supervisor
it
just said,
sounds
okay,
as though
sir?
It's just going to be.
Listen to what the supervisor
An
just
ongoing
told you.
issue.
She gave you a timeline. You spoke right over her. Listen, okay? Listen. Now tell him again.
I promise you that your project will be completed this year. I promise you. It'll be completed this year.
I hope that that camera is rolling, and I hope that everyone here heard that.
I would like to add that that's due to the cooperation of the highway department superintendent.
Maybe.
Because we can't go fix it for you.
Again, then can someone answer that question for me? Is he still involved? Because as I said, and I have emails that I've sent to you, that he is no longer involved in this situation.
Because I can't control him. The only person I have any control over me. Exactly, exactly. No,
You
but
know that there's a process with easements that's over,
we can't even work together, unfortunately.
but the town board is the one
So
who gets the
basically-
easements and gets to the.
Again, I don't mean to interrupt here, so, but basically, I got an answer contingent on this person who has washed his hands. of it.
It's not contingent on
That's,
anybody. If we have to
according
go
to that
out-
gentleman right there, he said, according to what the highway superintendent.
That's not what I said.
Yeah,
He's
That's
still
not-
got to do the
that's-
job.
No,
though.
he doesn't.
it's the RFP is for outside.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
getting
just-
conflicting stories from the board that, okay.
Well, it's going to cost the taxpayers more money to do this if we go out with RFP.
I'm sorry, am I not a taxpayer?
No, I am
Does it
too.
not mean anything? Again, I don't understand why this burden is falling on me. And that seems to be all that I am getting, is it's gonna cost other people money. Why do we pay taxes? Things should be taken care of.
My understanding is that the engineer is gonna do an RFP. The RFP is gonna go out. And
Yes.
tell me if I'm wrong here.
You're correct.
Okay, the RFP is gonna go out, somebody's gonna do the work. That's my understanding.
So I keep
all
saying
right?
it and I keep getting beaten with it. So I mean,
That's it.
I've been in office a little over a year. I'm committed to being proactive. I'm solving problems. I'm demonstrating that. And that's the best that I can do. And I'm sorry, I can't go back. I can't be a former supervisor. I can't, undo the things that have been done. And I can't fix your situation backwards.
Okay.
I can only fix it from here.
But again, I mean, going what literally just happened, you said one thing, that gentleman said another. So I will, so, okay. And that's, that,
the decisions.
and again, as long as that's what she said, it will be done this year, I am happy and content with that.
Okay.
But again, I just want that to be heard by everyone and on record, that the supervisor did say it will be done this year. This year being 2023.
Seems to be.
Okay? Thank you very much for your time, I appreciate it.
Sorry that it takes so long.
No, she can go in.
Diana Klein, Fairview Avenue, Old Hurley. Two things. One, have you considered possibly doing the questions at the end of the meeting so that we'd be able to ask about things that happen at the meeting?
public comment, and we were requested to have public comment at the beginning of the meeting.
Because we used to be at the end of the meeting, and that just made more sense because there's questions that come up as you're talking that once the public hearing's over, public comment's over, we can't ask it again, so.
Go back in 2 weeks and answer.
Yeah, but then you gotta
Other
remember.
people have asked us to have it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I can't make everybody happy.
Okay. And the other thing is, am I correct, but aren't you and Peter both, this is your 4th year on that town board?
I'm on the town board.
So here's the thing.
Okay, no, I
I
mean, you're
get
both
what-
here for 4 years.
I get what you're getting at.
Why are you asking
I-
that? You're primarying me. You know I am. So why would you even ask that question?
Because I heard that I've only been on for a year, I'm thinking,
So,
I thought it was.
No,
4
I've
years.
only
Well,
had,
I'm sure you know better than that. You wouldn't be trying to run against me if you were.
I've only had any power for a little over a year. That's a fact. That's not right? Oh, really?
It's not, hon. It's a
Hun?
town board, and it's five members on a town board, each have 1 vote.
Right, but when 3 people vote one way and 2 people vote the other, then you can't make.
That's not what was asked her. She has the same power as every one of you, and you have the same power as her.
Well, not if
That is,
decisions are being.
that's a fact.
Hey, John, but that's not true.
That's a
John,
fact.
So why
hold
don't
on.
you take care of the
John,
drainage?
that's not true.
The easement
Because
was-
there's plenty of documents that you had that you didn't even give us information
That's
about.
true. I remember
You didn't give us
watching
all the information before meetings. It's true.
There were a lot of
More
games.
transparency in 1 month than it's been in a year and 4 months.
Okay, this is
It's
becoming like
funny.
a political circus here, and I'm gonna walk out if we keep doing this, okay?
Our meeting,
This is public
our
comment.
our
No,
doors are
you
open all the
too.
time.
I'm sorry, I'm done with this. This is not about politics, this is about the town.
You know what? I'm sorry, I'm not about politics.
Yeah.
I'm about trying to get something fixed.
Yes.
This has been brought up at board meetings when John was there. So previous board members were there, were heard this. I showed them pictures. Other neighbors came up and showed. So this is not something new. It might be something new since you've been supervisor, but it's not a new issue. So it should be in your town board meetings that this has been a problem. Engineer was hired. You guys had to pay the engineer, so you should have already known about it. I'm sorry if I'm really upset, but I don't like the bickering between the previous administration and you. John has always been fair to me and decent. You guys always want to blame things on him. You want to blame it on Mike.
I'm not blaming anyone.
Ma'am, a lot of times you mentioned previous administration. Do me a favor, look back at all the town notes, and then maybe you guys would be familiar with what all the other problems were. I hear from this side of the board, I'd like to hear from this side of the board. They're not saying a word, it's only from the 3 people here. I know Mike was there, they've seen pictures of this stuff, so it's not new. So maybe you guys need to somehow refresh your memory on what went on when you were just board members?
Well, I didn't hear a thing about it.
You were not on the board. You were not on the board, you were in the audience.
Now she can do something about it.
Right,
So
but I'm
let's just
asking,
move
ma'am.
forward.
I'm asking to hear from like Mike and those. You were not on the board when this stuff was going on. You were in the audience, because I remember you bringing up a lot of questions.
That's right.
Now it's my turn to bring up a question. I know I showed Mike, and when Matt was here, I showed Matt and everybody else pictures of everything else. So just please go back and look at previous board meetings. This is not something new. If it was your home that was flooding and that stuff, I think you'd be just as upset as we are.
My
Thank you.
home's also flooding.
Well, where are you? Where are you located?
Cindy Rice, right
Right
straight down there, and I emailed like several times and was told that it was going to
Okay, well, the elephant in the room right here is about 2 months ago, we had a town board meeting with someone else that had a drainage problem who was literally crying to us. Because again, you all come to us. We begged the highway superintendent to come to meetings and be here so you can ask questions so we could work together as a town. But we don't have that in our town. So now, every time we have to go out with an RFP to get something done for you, it does cost. The reason I said there's 2 choices, if Mike would just fix it and answer to your problems and try to figure out how to do it, that comes out of a budget that's already there. Now we got to spend other money to bring in independent people to do the jobs.
Well, we still
So
have
we
to
can't,
do it.
look, we can't
It's
go,
still, we're still going to do it for you.
we can't go back, we can only go forward. I'm interested in fixing it, so, everybody get in touch with me directly, and I'll make sure that it happens.
Can I just say something? I mean, this is all new to me, so I don't even know what's going on. Does the highway department have the capacity to do, and what kind of drainage is it? Is it putting in culverts? Is it changing streams? Do you have to get DEP or DEC approval? What entails this kind, why is this flooding?
Every project is different. Every situation is different, so.
What they have to do on Wildwood Drive is they have to take the road that goes like this way, and they have to flip it this way. So the culvert pipes will be on, if you're going down the road, on the left-hand side, so it hits into the drainage pipe, it goes through, I don't know what Beth's last name, but it was Mrs. Schmidt's property, goes down there, so it'll end up down in the Sawkill. So we don't flood, the people behind us don't flood, and the people on the next road down don't
Now,
flood.
where are you located?
Right down the end of the road here, you go down, this
By
stop.
Pleasant Ridge?
Yeah, that
Oh.
little short road before Pleasant Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Like-
walked there sometimes.
I had no
First one
idea.
on the left.
And
There
so
was an
that
engineer
floods.
that went out there, so I'm just concerned as why nobody seems to know when an engineer went out there.
projects that the highway superintendent could actually
Because-
do. There are other projects that he couldn't.
Right, because he's
But-
doing up on Hickory, right? That's all being done there by the town,
The-
besides up there. and I guess
Yeah.
that's putting in culverts and burying and
Yeah.
putting whatever.
But in general, and I'm kind of sad about this, but the communication isn't really good, and he's never here. So there is a lot of, everybody winds up being mad at everybody else, and it's very unfortunate, because it doesn't fix the problem at all, and it creates new ones, so,
Because, I mean, they're not,
you know.
in all probability, and I mean, we know they're not engineers themselves. So they would still have to have direction, I'm assuming, from an engineering company?
Yeah. There are drawings.
A drawing.
Bernier and Larios were involved.
Very good job.
An engineer made recommendations, and they followed them, so.
And then they went back, they went out a few times
And they,
and inspected.
But who
Yeah.
hires the
Solve the
engineers?
problem,
Who
I
signs
don't
them?
know, but it really.
The town.
Well, that's-
Town does.
That's the way it's supposed to work.
Okay. All right.
Any other public comment?
Yeah, Toby Carey, I live in Glenford. I just wish that the public comment period could be public comment and not a back and forth. I think it's more productive to hear the questions and give a reasoned response from the board when appropriate, but not in the heat of the moment. I think it doesn't do anybody a service to have this kind of contentious back and forth. Should be questions asked, points raised, the board takes it under advisement and then comes back after it's had a chance to look at it.
I mean, I'm in the office every day, so folks can come in anytime and talk with me.
And I do take some responsibility for that, but I'm just kind of tired of the finger pointing, and, it just gets exhausting.
It's a big mess to clean up.
And it's too bad, because it's a small town, and, in a pinch, we all have to work together, so.
And I answer every email anybody sends to me and get in contact with people.
Real quick, so the moratorium that's going to be presented in 14 days, is that on the website? Is that available for people to read? Or when are we going to be able to read it so that we're prepared for them?
It is not yet, no. Okay, we'll get it up tomorrow, John.
Tomorrow? Thank you. I've had multiple FOIL requests come to your office. You said you didn't get them, but I know the clerk got them, and the clerk told me that they...
I'm not the FOIL officer, I'm the records manager.
Is there an actual FOIL officer?
Yeah.
And that would
By
be...
law, it's the town clerk.
Well, I didn't know, because potentially you could, like I had the attorney
You were
become
the
the FOIL.
appeals officer.
Yeah. No, I didn't do...
Because
But
the
it-
town clerk by state law is.
Correct, but you can also, if she's unable to do it or whatever, you have the power to make somebody else, like the town attorney, for example, be the FOIL request.
Okay, so we'll put the town attorney.
Yeah, no, don't you pay a monthly fee for the attorney? You pay him by the hour? That's a problem. All financials, I noticed they're not on the website also, like all the monthly
So
financials.
there's been a challenge getting financials that are accurate from the accounting firm.
Oh, I thought you had an in-house bookkeeper.
The transition is not complete. There, that transition can't happen on a dime. It's got to be a process. So it's been bumpy with the accountants.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Just a few things on the agenda.
Any motion to?
Motion to close public comment?
Yes, so moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. So the board will remember that we had a conversation about composting, which will reduce the weight of our solid waste. There are two ways that we can go about procuring services. One of them is General Municipal Law 102, I do believe, or 103. And then it's 103.
103.
General Municipal Law 103 is the standard process. There is an alternative process under General Municipal Law 120, which recognizes the complex and innovative nature of resource recovery technology. And that would allow for an alternate procurement procedure that would allow the town to consider the best interests of the town and to award a waste disposal contract after weighing several enumerated factors to a party other than the lowest bidder, if that is found in the public, that the public interest would be served in doing so. So, I'm happy to have discussion with the town. It seems to me that General Municipal Law 120 would be a good way to go, but I'm open.
I know we had this discussion, we've had this discussion a couple of times about this particular project. And I guess the challenge with it is the legal, in terms of how
The procurement.
the procurement strategy, because at first we were talking about an RFQ, a request for qualifications, and what the lawyers have done or found for us is a way to work around or work through that, so we don't have to get a request for qualifications. We can actually move more closely to a request for proposal. And I think this is actually, I am very happy that our legal team has been able to find this route, because this is going to cut down a step that we would have to have gone through. We'd have to go through requests for qualifications and then go to do requests for proposals. So, I'm really, really happy with how our legal team has functioned, and I'm just hopeful that we can move forward as expeditiously as possible with this one.
Anyone else?
I agree with Greg, what he says, yeah.
Okay, so the town attorney stated that before issuing the RFP, the town must publish notice of our intent to issue an RFP. So with the town board's permission, I'd like to have that notice be published of our intent. So it's not the actual RFP,
Right,
it's
correct,
the
yeah.
intent. Okay.
So are you need a motion for
Yes,
this?
please.
Yes, I'd like to make the motion to direct the supervisor to
Have the attorney
have
publish
the attorney publish
the notice of
the
intent.
notice, yeah, right, the notice of intent. Thank you.
I'll do the easy part.
Yeah, you do that.
Second.
There you go.
Okay. All right, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Okay. Update on cellular service. I had a meeting with Verizon, and the town of Marbletown, and the county. Verizon and the county looked at topography, and the plan is to site a tower in the town of Marbletown at the north end that would cover the majority of the lower side of town, and hopefully up 209. And the county is going to recommission, it's not clear if they're recommissioning their old tower or if they're going to put a new tower up just a few feet away from the old tower on Tonchi Mountain. Also in the works is installation of a transmitter in the belfry of the Hurley Reformed Church.
Well, that's nice news.
So that's all in the works. I did mention to them that we do own property on Dug Hill Road, that maybe we could site a tower there, but topography-wise, they didn't feel that it would be beneficial because it would be hard to get signal out from that location.
So is this gonna fill out that part of 209 that is?
Yeah,
Okay,
it'll make the dead zone not a dead zone anymore. We're world famous for a dead zone, so.
Thank you, Verizon.
So that's the scoop there. I don't know how quickly this is gonna happen, but
Is the Tonchi Mountain one, is that like approved and all that?
the county has an existing tower on Tonchi that is outdated.
Yeah.
So I think they were either looking at recommissioning that, or they may need to build another tower, and they said, I heard something about maybe 90 feet from the old tower, so, anyway, that's the plan.
Cool.
Okay, so that's all I have there. Departments and committee reports, is there anything from the?
Joan Passioni from the CAC. Arbor Day, the arbor planting, I got the email. Is there some place in town that we could put the trees? How would we go about because they're large trees, they're not small trees.
So they sent the inquiry out, I forwarded it along. I know we haven't talked about it, so I just wanted to disseminate the information, and then let's talk about what we think.
I mean, if we could get them and we have areas that we could plant, we need trees. I mean, everything else is dying, the pines are going, so I don't know what they would give us. You got the email too, right? Yeah, I don't know what type of trees we would get, what size they would be. I guess the highway department would have to put them in, I would assume, but.
Are they that big? Usually they're like. They're not seedlings, they're not seedlings, but they're not,
Yeah, but
they usually
have root balls, and they're like 12.
right.
They're 12 feet high? Are they that tall?
Some of them they're sometimes 8 feet, sometimes,
Okay, so you'd have to have somebody, put them in for
Yeah,
us,
I think
but
so,
where
yeah.
would we put trees?
Yeah.
And I don't know the type of tree. I mean, that's something I think we'll have to look at.
Right. It's a rotating cycle, grant cycle, so,
Okay.
we can look at it, and maybe it's something that we wait till the fall cycle or something.
All right.
But let's talk about it. I didn't, I get this information, and I don't want to
Right.
just let it, let it go if we could, if we wanted to do something. So,
I guess we'd have to kind of like look, I mean, it would have to be on town property, I would assume. Or along roadways, or would.
Well, I think if you could demonstrate, like, for example, if you wanted to set up a buffer along a stream, I mean, we don't
Yeah.
have any town property along the streams, it's all private, but if you could, I think, demonstrate that it's beneficial to the public to have these trees put in.
So maybe we should look, all right, I'll come in one of these days.
It's gonna also matter what kind you get. I know people don't like that, they say I'm an expert on things. But I actually, as a youth, even won the Woodstock Garden Club Award a few years in a row, and I've won in California and Florida for my gardening. The thing is, with the certain trees are only gonna be susceptible to be able to be grown in certain areas. So honestly, probably the smart, if we have a choice of trees, it's gonna, and where you want them, it's gonna be smarter to know where you wanna put them or where we need them before we decide which ones to get.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna end up, like for instance, like you said, you put a pine out in the middle of there, it's gonna be brown in a year
Right.
because it's not made to grow there. Moisture, things like that, it all depends. So I'll help you on it if you want to also to work on which trees to plant that'll be best for the areas.
Okay.
Well, it would be helpful to have like suggestions of where.
Right, that's the first thing I think we need. Okay, so we'd have to look at the town and see, are there streams that we need to put it through? I mean, the Esopus, but we don't own anything there. But are there other stream areas that we need where we could
I know
put?
that we want to do that on stream beds, so that's a whole other thing, There's
well, I
probably
think
some areas.
it's something to look at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at it and see what the parameters are.
What I will tell you, in the recent decade or so, especially after that big hurricane hit, I guess 2012 maybe? There was a huge problem with the supervisor at the time was really trying, and I don't think we got much help, of removing all the trees that were torn down into the Esopus that would block the Esopus and then cause the flats to flood. So again, it really needs to be careful where these trees go, and we always have to take that into consideration of the future of what could possibly happen.
Okay. All right, that was basically
Okay.
all that I had.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess it was late last week, the 284 agreement came through. Did anybody have time to look at that?
I actually honestly didn't have much time to look at it. I was actually gonna make a motion because I need some time to look at it. I was gonna make a motion to table that for now, so.
Well, we
Is that
didn't,
something-
we didn't get the 284 agreement until May of last year, so I think we have a little bit of time.
All right,
I mean,
I wonder if there's one more thing, because reading it, on the 1A is general repairs, and there's $381,000 set aside for basic work, general maintenance, and repairs upon the 52.16 miles of highways, including sluices, drainage ditches, culverts, and bridges, having spans less than 5 feet. Tree and brush removal, boardwalks. Now, on B, he has,
okay, wait, Peter, this is, what I'm saying is I haven't had a chance to read it
no, but
closely enough.
what I'm bringing up is, oh, you do need the time.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I'm not
I
saying
need
that.
time.
But maybe with all the people in here that are having drainage issues, maybe with this, because in part 1B, it's permanent improvements on the highways, which is basically paving. Now, we got 10 of those,
Yeah.
So there's
but we
not
have
a-
no explanation of, you got $381,000 there. I think all taxpayers would rather us have promises made to you, and the other woman that was here. I would like to see them listed on here as projects that will be completed by the highway department, so we don't have to go out and get other people.
You can't use those funds for that.
Hmm?
You can't use those funds for that. Those funds are geared just toward permanent improvements on highways.
Putting culvert pipes in and fixing culvert pipes, which is here, it's permanent, but it's listed.
all right, so, Donna,
What do you think, Mike?
I think we should wait till like next meeting, to get a better handle of this.
okay, so
We
you,
do.
so you made a motion?
Can I make a motion? I mean, I'm sorry, yeah, Mike's with me on this. I just have not had the chance, so I'll
Okay.
make a motion to table this until next week, next meeting,
yes.
which is in 2 weeks.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
So I just want to get back to, just bear with me, please. So I understand what 1A general repairs, because this seems to be very broad in terms of how this money is going to be spent. I don't understand this. I mean, I saw the highway improvement stuff, the list, but I didn't understand this first part, 1A, at all. It seemed to be outside of the purview, or if it is in the purview, what's supposed to be done. I mean, I think it could be broken out a lot better in terms of how the money is going to be distributed, allocated.
That may have been one of the things that was making me feel like I needed more time, because I'm like, where are the specifics? Yeah.
Yeah, there are a
Okay.
lot of specifics around what's going to be done with, in terms of the
Paving,
paving. I
but
mean,
not
that's easy
drainage.
enough, but the issue here, as everyone, a few people have raised, about drainage issues, this needs to be addressed. The other thing that I would add to this is that we received an email from Rose, let's see if I can, Rose Kelly, who was concerned about the care of the Hurley Rail Trail. So this is this could form part of this issue as well? Or is this not something that falls under the budget?
No, no.
I think
It
that's,
is CHIPS money. Yeah. What you're reading, the 284 is CHIPS money. What you're using, you can't utilize CHIP money.
Okay, all right, well,
Right.
I just need to understand the differences here,
but the
that's fine.
the drainage thing is,
But, yeah, I mean, the drainage thing is built into this particular,
Right, but on the drainage thing, you guys got a grant for this watershed issue. It took a long time for them to get it, but you guys got a grant. I don't know if it's over $900,000 that's in this account, but you got a grant for it, and that's for the drainage issue. So that shouldn't have to do with Mike's budget. It has to do with this.
It doesn't, and we'll take care of it.
okay, but I still need more
All
time.
right, so there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposing or abstentions? So carried. Okay, there will be a Memorial Day parade. Anyone interested in participating should contact my office. Town town is also looking at a larger event to be held at the park later in September. I'm not prepared to release any details yet, but that will be coming shortly. I don't have anything else. Anybody have anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll entertain that motion.
You'll entertain that motion?
Yeah,
Is there,
to
okay.
adjourn.
All right, I'll say.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
The moratorium is supposed to be.
Can you go tell him?
Who was it?
John Parent.
John? The moratorium